Both at 7, starting on you. Okay. We're here, HealthDads, we're down in Arizona. Myself is here in Manhattan. We're here, center of Manhattan, heart of Manhattan, where we're at. And we're going to pause that as we move forward. We got shirtless Brofit coming in, but that's what we can do in Arizona. In Arizona, we can be outside. We have the heat. We have our pool.
So hot outside. Right now, well, it's true. Last night I went to complete some of my steps, and it was 100 degrees out. Right now it's only 95, but it was like 6:30, 7 o'clock last night. And I was walking around the neighborhood, and I came back and I was like, it's so damn hot out. What the hell? And I looked at it, it was 100 degrees at like 7 o'clock. So that's what's going down in Arizona. Sorry about that. Running a minute or two late. I was trying to do a wonderful husband deed and set up an appointment for a massage for my wife while we have the day off today. And the kids are at school and at Bible study. And I almost got robbed by a little old lady on a motorized cart, and I didn't even see it coming. So I'm just flustered right at the moment because I set it up, and right at the last minute, they're like, hey, it's going to cost this much more. And I said, well, we'll time out. Like, I have an hour session. Like, can I just use that? Well, you're with our master person. Well, no, time out. That's not what I'm looking for. So that's what I was just doing the last, like, 5 to 10 minutes of my life, and I'm flustered about it, but I'm over it. I'm here. I'm with you. I see your smile. You look beautiful, happy and healthy. Let's get going, man.
What's happening? That's quite a mouthful. Lots to unpack right there, though. As long as you're safe. I recently told my kid who stubbed her toe, I said, if there's no bones and there's no blood, let's just use some love and get through this right now. It was a moment of trying not to say don't cry. Always try that. Always try not to say don't cry. I don't want to say that because you can cry, right? Anyway, I'm glad you didn't get robbed by this person. I'm glad you got everything set up. Where are you guys right now? So your wife is a firefighter and she's on, what is it? Is it 3 days on, 3 days off? What's the frequency?
Yeah, the dynamic is crazy. She's now on a 10-day rotating schedule. So she's on, off, on, and then 4 days off. So 9-day rotating schedule now.
Wait, hold on. I heard 10, I heard 9, I heard 4.
She works 24-hour shifts. So she leaves in the morning by 6:30. She's on shift from 7 to 7, 24 hours on, 24 hours off. And she does that on and off for 5 days.
Okay.
And then after her 5 days, she has 4 days off.
Got it. Okay.
So
4 straight days off. So
what makes you, go ahead.
There's a 24-hour period where she's not working. She's working for 24 hours and she's off for 24 hours. That is a 5-day cycle. And then she has 4 straight days off.
Correct.
Got it. How do you guys plan around those 4 days to go away or do something at all?
I revolve my schedule around her schedule, just because I'm the stay-at-home. So what maybe her work is Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. Next week it's going to be Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And the week after that will be Friday, Sunday, Tuesday. And then it'll be Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So I have an idea kind of in my head of how her schedule works. But in terms of laying out frequency of having weekends together and just normal time periods where we can coexist with other families, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. But for example, this week she's got off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So, or excuse me, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's kind of a nice 4-day during the week. I get to have some time with her at home. We get to hang out. We got some breakfast this morning together, which was a huge thing. And so, yeah, we have our small wins along the way. We try to get our small victories in.
I love that. That is, I feel like it keeps it kind of exciting in the way that not everything is always the same. I mean, you are having, it's like, you don't know when this day is going to happen. I don't know. It just, maybe I'm someone who just likes a little bit of a change. Sometimes I don't love routine as much as I do love consistency as routine. I don't know what that means, but it's hard. I see it as an exciting thing.
Yeah, it can present its challenges, but open up some things too. So it's just nice to be able to have her off for 4 days. Yeah, I mean, it's changed since we've been together for 10 years. It's changed about 6 or 7 times. So we've gone everything from 24 hours on to 48 off to 48 on, 96 off to a 10-day rotating schedule, now a 9-day rotating schedule. So it changes.
Awesome. I just found out a new tool in this whole software, so it just blew my mind for a second. I was listening, but I was just glad to see it. We do have Scuba in the chat. Scuba is. I'm always nervous when Scuba's here because you never know what he's going to say. He's just rogue. He just goes rogue. Scuba sent me X-rays during yesterday's Health Dad. I'm not opening a message to look at X-rays. I'm also not an expert in looking at X-rays. That's I'm not a radiologist. So, but anyway, I appreciate the just being involved. I love that. So thank you so much. Wait, what was I doing? Hold on, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna do that. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'm going to try to use that later. We'll do it. So anyway, 40 minutes, Brad. Can we do this? I don't know. It's okay if we don't. I always try it though.
Let's do it. I'm going to be super brief. I'm going to start us off. I'm going to head us in the right direction. I'm going to talk about my clients and things that are happening right now with clientele. I'll give you 3 minutes and we'll move on forward. As of right now and today, I do not have to. I'm taking a day off. I'm not thinking about clients. I'm not going to reach out to them. I'm not going to communicate with them. I'm going to let them struggle if they're struggling. I'm going to let them succeed if they're succeeding. I'm going to take a day off for myself mentally. I've crushed out a ton of steps this morning so I can do nothing for the remainder of the day because tomorrow is a very busy day with clients. So I want to make sure I have all of my energy and I have things prioritized for tomorrow, and making sure I have enough energy with them. So I'm working out with a client at 8:30. I have another 9:30 client, another 10:30 with you, and then I have a 12 o'clock client on live stream as well. So I'm excited about just getting back and working a little bit more consistently and seeing more people a little bit more frequently. I'm encouraging some of my clients that have been with me now for 5, 6, 7 months to start to develop another day in throughout the week. So if they've been doing 1 time a week, I'm now asking or trying to promote 2 times a week. The difficulty is obviously with my schedule and not their schedule. So instead of just giving them homework to do on the side or programs to do on the side when they're not working with me, just challenging them to work with me a little bit more and to get through the nit and gritty, because I know what they're doing when they are with me. However, I have to take their word more or less on what they're doing when I'm not with them, and I have to base things off of their results and how they're feeling and how just the way that they're looking and the way things are kind of going on with their movement patterns and so forth. So that's kind of what's going on in a nutshell. I'm just excited to get back to it. I'm excited to crank it up a little bit. And I dropped off my little daughter this morning at my folks' house, and I got to stretch with my father and a lady named Beverly, who's 93 years old. And they used to work out with Mac Newton, my old trainer, and they were working out together at my parents' house. They were with their new trainer, who was a student of Mac Newton for over 30 years in the Taekwondo industry, and has kind of taken over out in Colorado. And anyways, I just got to stretch with them for about a half an hour, share some stories, kind of just get some good feel memories of my old trainer and what it felt like going through some of those movements, to be with another person like my father and to share that moment with him as he's now 74 years old. It was just very, very powerful. So I loved it. I enjoyed it. That's what's going on with me and clients and people around in my life.
That's awesome. When you are not working with clients or you're they're on their own, are you in communication in any sort of way between sessions? Or are you guys waiting for each session? What is it you guys like to do more?
Yeah, I like to check in. I'm a very big checker-inner person. I don't know if that makes sense, but kind of like what I do with my buddies, or some of the V-dads. I'll check in with them like once a month. I'll give them a call or send them a message and just literally check in just to see how they're doing. Especially because the people I don't see as frequently as I would like to in person, I don't get a lot of that feedback. When I see somebody every single day, at least for an hour and at different times throughout that day, after a while, I start to get a rhythm of an understanding of what that person's going through. So when their energy walks in the door, I kind of know how to dictate, handle that, work with them, and get them the results and or the best type of workout that they need in that moment. So yeah.
If someone is wanting to work with you, I mean, that I feel like your overall energy is definitely, I would say I'm buttering you up here a little bit. I know that you are a little bit of a no nonsense person. I don't even know if I like that so much, but it's I think you are kind of getting people to really focus in, and you're looking for that from people too. What is it? How are you normally getting, how would someone get to be starting to work with you?
Yeah, easiest way is just to reach out, connect with me. Obviously, I would love to do things in person just because I feel like I can get more out of it. But a lot of the times I'm connecting with people live stream and doing things as such. Easiest way is just to connect, reach out to me, talk, tell me about your journey, tell me what you're trying to accomplish. I may or may not be the right person for you. I don't take on every client because I feel like there's different fits for different people. And to me, I'm more about what's going on up in here. I really am. Physically, we're going to be limited based off of age or movement patterns or abilities sometimes. But I don't want that to hinder us. One of the wonderful things that I got another spark of this morning was when I was chatting with Bev. She's 93 years old, and she goes, I remember when I was working with Mac, and I told him when I was 63 I wanted to be in the best shape of my life when I was 80. And he looked at me and goes, Bev, you can do it. I know you're going to do it. And here I am at 93 years old, and I'm in the best shape of my life. And I've seen this lady go through crazy transformations, but just to have that kind of spark and that fire, I want to see people like that. This woman was 93 years old and so cognizant, was able to communicate so well, was so aware of everything that was going on around her, and she was still moving and grooving and doing her things. Now, this is a woman where I'm sitting next to her struggling to stretch, and she's been damn near a full split at 93 years old. And so to me, this was a woman that was 150 pounds overweight, that has never had an athletic ounce of ability, but she started to bleed, and she had somebody there to tell her that she was capable of doing more than she was. And that when she thought she was done, she was maybe at 50%, maybe. Right. And so she took that and she ran with it. She drank the Kool-Aid, and 30 plus years later, she's 93 years old and kicking ass. That's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm looking for people who want to make realistic lifestyle changes, not just some temporary thing where they make it feel good. Everybody can start on January 1st and do their whole New Year's resolution type shit. Guess what? This is life. You're going to fail. Great. But you need something consistent to keep you motivated, to keep you on track, to keep you in the best shape of your life, and to keep yourself accountable so you can't bullshit against yourself. We're our worst enemies. We look for every excuse and reasoning to get out of something if we don't want to do it, right? Just like these steps. I think these steps are fucking stupid. I really do. I hate them sometimes. But you know what? I'm going to crush them every fucking day, and I'm going to get my 15K every single day. And when I found out that there was 18 more days of this, I got discouraged. But you know what? It's going to fucking motivate me to go do shit that I don't want to do when I don't want to do it. It's going to keep me accountable, and it's going to make me better for it.
I think it's so true. I wanted to go back to your woman over here, your 93-year-old. One thing I just pulled this off of one of our sites here, but 93 years old, and I think that we have a 200 character limit here. And so it's kind of hard. I can actually just read this, but we have 93 years old, right? 93 years old. What is keeping her young? Now, there's a genetic component to all this as well, but I think it's important just to make sure that we understand that there is also just moving your body. Now, regular exercise, and the reason I said this is because I know that we get really big into things around strength training as well, and I think that this is where I think that there is going to be a correction within the industry at some point. Just like 80s, 90s, beginning of the nuts there, where we were so big on cardio. I think that, we saw some detriment from that. There were benefits too, but now we have swung that pendulum really far to the side. I think that strength training is kind of in its heyday at the moment for many people. We're talking about a lot more. I think progressive overload is a really common, phrase that people are throwing around. And I think that there will be, a return to some more aerobic acceptance, which is going to be really good. But even things like, I know that you come very much from the CrossFit world. And so this aerobic capacity can definitely be built up more with the type of training that you end up doing here. But what I'm getting at is that your 93-year-old client, friend, all this kind of stuff here, right? That regular exercise is such a big benefit here, because what did get cut off here is that, this movement that is helping all of these neurotransmitters, or these chemicals, the dopamine, the serotonin, the noradrenaline, the BDNF, which is just a big topic in itself, right? This exercise, and this is something I have to be honest, if you look at any podcast, if you listen to any researcher, they're going to tell you that we don't know exactly how this is happening, but you can see this actually going on in the brain. But this movement, this exercise is promoting the growth of new brain cells, and specifically within the hippocampus. And that itself is, and this is the important point, but that itself is just developing its new growth of those brain cells, and that is helping delay the onset of dementia. Now, it's not an end-all be-all, but it is something or that's not end-all be-all, but that is not a cure-all, but it is something that we have to be able to take into account here. That was cut off there, but I just wanted to add that. I think it's important, right? 93, why are we going to move more? Or why are you moving today, right? I know that you might feel fine, but don't wait until things get worse. I think it's definitely an important thing there. I went over the comments here for a second just to see what's going on. We got Pfeiffer in the chat, and Scuba, of course, is here. We love that. I'm sorry I cut you off, though. What's going on?
I don't remember what I was going to say. I was just saying MP. And yeah, man, your health doesn't wait for New Year's. You got to get after it now. I mean, I've been loving watching MP's journey, and I'm sure you have too, because he posts pictures every day of just him melting, literally melting away. Like, I would love to go see it before, like the original before picture, and have him put that before and after out, because he's been putting in just not like so much work in terms of like every day, all day, just crushing it, killing it. He's staying consistent. What people don't realize is that consistency is just like, you don't just we never stay stagnant. People always think like they stay stagnant at some point. No, we get better or we get worse, period. If I stop moving, I get worse. If I stop running, I get worse. If I don't let my heart rate get jacked up, I get worse. If I don't break down lean tissue and start to work on my strength, I get worse. I get weaker. And so what I love about him is that he's taken this thing and he's chipped away. He's just chipping and consistent. And he's still living his life. He's still going out to baseball games and eating hot dogs and peanuts and Cracker Jacks and beers and shit like that, as well as you should.
Wait, hold on. MP, are you really eating Cracker Jacks?
I don't know about Cracker Jacks. I might have made that up.
Okay, thank you. Because who's eating Cracker Jacks these days?
My father eats Cracker Jacks when we go to the baseball games. They actually have them. And I saved the little toy inside for my boy. He gets really excited about those. But my point is that he's living his life and being a father, has kids, is able to hang out and be the cool dad and enjoy nights out with his wife and stuff like that. But he's chipping away and staying consistent. And by doing so, he's able to not only create a habit, but from then on top, he's using those things for benefit. Sometimes we think that, oh my God, if I go eat like popcorn and Cracker Jacks and peanuts, that this is going to be horrible for me. No, not necessarily, right? If we've primed our body up, it could just be more fuel.
Dude, I always talk about that. I put out a video one time where I talked about the benefits of binge eating. And I told somebody, I said, I made a video and I was like talking to this topic, and then someone had commented on it. And I was like, you know what? Okay, you just binged last night. Great. If you're lifting, today is the day to go at it and hit it hard then, because now you've filled your muscles with these nutrients, and you're going to actually probably have more energy than you've had in the past because you've been restricting. And so just trying to find the other side of the benefit of binge eating, because really it's like, whether you call it binge eating or not, or you look at it as fueling appropriately for a workout, there are benefits. And, you know, I have some clients that define binges as like, I went out and had a fun size Snicker bar, or I'm like, that's not a binge, by the clinical definition of it, but like to them, it definitely is, because they felt it. It's something where it's like, I love it. I think I was just going to say, that consistency and the discipline definitely leads to that freedom, which might be a Goggins thing. I don't know who says that, but it's just true. And I wish it wasn't so much one person's thing. But anyway, I think that's going to be good. All right. Hey, let's keep on task here, guys. We all know what time it is, and it is...
It's the BroFit movement of the day.
All right, it's the BroFit movement of the day. We know we're excited for it. It's going to happen. We got BroFit coming up. He's going to let us know exactly what's going on. Movement. So, guys, as a reminder, so BroFit has done us a huge benefit so far. He has a few things about making sure that we are doing something different than our body normally does. We're sitting in a chair. So how can we move our hips? How can we open things up? How can we get stronger in those areas? Looking at our butt and looking at our posterior chain, as a lot of our CrossFit brethren will say. And so we have that. We also talked about posture. I love the posture stuff, by the way. I think that's always good. And then most recently, yesterday we did a don't tell me, floor to head, what was it called?
Overhead.
Floor to overhead. Yeah. So basically doing a good lift. It's basically like it's a scaled clean, more or less.
It's a scaled snatch. Yeah.
Thank you. I actually hate many Olympic lifts. That's why I try and take it out of my head sometimes. But BroFit, what is our movement of the day?
It's the BroFit movement of the day.
All right, gang. All right. So our movement of the day is going to be something that we all do. We have all done. And we all do almost every single day. In fact, you're doing it right now. In order for you to have gotten into your position, you have had to squat. And I love squats. And I'm going to talk about the squat real quick just for a second, because I feel like it is extremely crucial to our everyday movement. If you sit down in a chair, you are squatting. If you are picking something up off of the ground, you are hinging, which is a type of squat in essence, right? No matter what, whether we're squatting or deadlifting, we're in a hinged position. We're hinging from our hips. So I want to talk about how we can maximize our squats without thinking about necessarily squatting or having to go squat weight. So for those of you who have a sit-down desk job, you can start to work on your butt and you can start to work on your hamstrings while you are at work. That's the beautiful thing I love about exercise, is that you don't need anything around you. But if you do, you have some tools that can really help you out. And one of them is going to be your chair, just for range of motion purposes and for staying controlled. So normally what happens when we go sit down on a chair, right, we kind of do this plot where we put our hands down and we kind of plop down, right? When we get up, we put our hands here and we kind of do one of these things. We kind of roll up. And now for Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who are incapable of really moving, that might be okay. But for us, we want to focus on squeezing our butt. Our butt is going to be our main mover. So I want that to be tight, tight, tight. I'm going to squeeze my butt and I'm going to shift my hips back into the chair, because if I go straight down, I'm going to miss my chair. So I want to push my hips just like I would in my hinge, but I'm going to stop here and I'm going to start to bend my knees until I get down into a sat position, okay? When I'm standing up, I want to still squeeze. So if I relax, that's fine, but now I need to squeeze my butt again, and I want to plant my feet down into the ground, and I want to try to stand straight up without leaning forward as much as possible. The more forward I lean, the more weight I'm distributing forward, or it'll have a tendency to round out or collapse my back. So you can keep your back up nice and straight, squeeze your butt, and try to stand without shifting forward. One of the things I used to do with my clients, and I would mess with them, is I'd put my hands about 2 or 3 inches in front of their shoulders, and I'd say, stand straight up. And they'd go, and they'd keep hitting my hands. It would force them to squeeze their butt and get more vertical rather than leaning forward and doing one of these positions. So even if at the bare minimum you've got a chair, I want you to focus on squeezing the butt, push the hips back into the chair, and from there, do the same thing as you stand straight up. If you don't have a chair and we're looking to increase your squat, feet shoulder width apart, from here, we're going to drive the knees outward a little bit to create some space. I don't want them collapsing. If they collapse, we might have a yucky problem on the knees. So I want to drive the knees out, especially if I'm tall, because it's going to create space for my hips to drop down into. Okay, you'll be able to see it a little bit better here. If I go straight down, you can see my knees go forward, yucky. My heels come up off the ground. So I need to push my butt back into the chair, drive my knees out, and that will allow me to keep my chest up and my butt nice and tight, allowing me to get some space. If I don't drive my knees out, I get to this position. Oh, you can see I'm down in that depth, but my back is completely collapsed, and now my spine is not having good pressure. So ultimately, when we're focused on a squat, regardless of your range of motion, whether it's short or long, we want to keep our spine as tight as possible. I always talk about taking a deep breath in. Imagine your spine is surrounded by this balloon, and you're trying to build the balloon up as big as possible so you can protect that spine. So every time I'm squatting, I'm going, squeeze the butt back in the chair, knees are out, and I'm standing, breathing as I'm standing up. Same thing, deep breath in, butt back in the chair, knees go out, breathing as I'm standing up. If you have range of motion issues, so Mr. and Mrs. Jones go, cool, Brian, you're 40 years old. I could have done that like 30 years ago. Sweet. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, let's work on a range of motion by getting up towards a post or a pole or a chair or a couch, whatever you can hold on to, and allow your body to go down comfortably. And again, just melt, sink, let it drop. But the most important thing is not to allow your back, you can see, yucky. Much better, more safe. Okay? So if I'm pulling my hips forward, I'm opening up my hips, I'm allowing for a full range of motion. So if I need to, I can hold this. If I didn't have this, I might fall back. So if I have bad mobility, find something that will allow you to increase range of motion. My cheat for the day, for you squatters who like to lift heavy and or go, want to work on range of motion as well, grab yourself just a little pound plate, something to keep your heels up. Put your heels on top of those, and you'll be able to hang out down here like a ninja all day long. Okay,
I'm glad you said that. I am the person who didn't learn that for a long time.
This is a game.
It is, and you know what? I would say that's it looks intimidating when you start to elevate your heels. I mean, squatting in general, I think, is a very intimidating movement for so many people. But, I would say it's really within the top 5 or 6 movements. We have push-ups, we have overhead presses, we have things just like the squat's going to fit in there. But when a squat is definitely something we're doing all the time. Just the same thing as yesterday, you're saying picking stuff off the ground, like you're doing that right now. And, so squatting is something that we hopefully won't be so intimidated with, but I think placing something under your heels or seeing people using, Olympic lifting shoes, all those things. But, if anything, I think lifting your heels is a way of scaling things to actually make things easier. So I don't want to tell anyone how to feel, but it is something that that should be looked at as something that's making or what could be an intimidating movement actually easier for you. So just keep that in mind.
You pinpointed it. Honestly, anything that we do can be scaled. And that's the beauty of it. Whether it's a squat, a deadlift, a push, a pull, as crazy of a complex of like a clean and jerk or a snatch, anything and everything can be scaled. So for the person who's fearful of moving, there is a pattern for you that will allow you to increase range of motion, tear down lean tissue, increase your health, and increase your movement. There's no doubt about it.
I want to go back to this quote. You were showing us a squat, and I think Mrs. Jones did something wrong, and you said, "Ew, yucky, yucky, yucky." Is this language that's taught within the ACSM?
Yeah, this is definitely from the NASM booklet, probably somewhere in the 5th chapter. That's past programming and design. No, I was just talking about the collapsing of the knees. A lot of women, and women will understand this, as they squat, their knees will have a tendency to collapse and go inward. Guys, we have a hard time going inward sometimes, and where it feels a little bit easier for us to drive outward. By driving outward, we just engage the glutes, we work on our butt, we protect the knees. That's really where I was going to try to get at.
No, I was just giving you a hard time. You did an excellent job.
Yeah.
So good stuff there. But I think we're on track.
We're doing it.
I think so. I think I'm doing the math wrong. But guys, it's
This way, that way.
All right, guys. So we have our This Way, That Way. Our This Way, That Way is a 3 times a week. It's where we talk about a topic. We take one side or the other, and we make sure that we are going to look at maybe something in a different lens, which I think is really important. We did talk about one thing yesterday, which seemed almost obvious, but it was core stability, and taking the I keep saying the anti side. What's the word I'm looking for? Taking the other side of core stability was kind of a hard thing, but I think it does give us, again, a different perspective on things, which I think is definitely good. So definitely want to make sure we kind of give some space to that. But we have, and as I'm at the gym now, it is a different wheel than we have at home. So these have a lot more options on there. And if anyone in the chat right now, we know Scuba's there. We know Nacho is in there too. We got Robbie in there and also MP. If there is a topic that you'd love to throw onto our Health Dads Wheel of the Day, you let us know. We'll throw it on there. We got some good stuff here. So, Bri, is there anything that you would look forward to talking about?
Did you just change all of these? Are these?
So you may have missed it when I said.
It. Okay, there's some exercises down here. Okay, no, we're adding.
Yeah. So when I'm at home versus the gym, the wheel changes, and the wheel only changes mainly because I have an older computer at home than I do here at the gym, and so it's just different altogether. So we will spin the wheel, whatever it lands on, we will figure out who's going to take the for and the one against, and we'll have 2 minutes to speak to our side of things. All right, we good?
Yep.
Do you want to choose which side you want before we spin or after we spin?
Yeah, we should choose. I will go 4, unless it's either or, and then we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, there might be 1 or 2 on here. It's kind of weird. But, oh, yeah, it could be either or. We'll see. All right. We're spinning, and moderate reps versus high and lower reps. Interesting. Okay. Well, first of all, I want this. How are we going to define moderate reps?
Well, moderate reps, I would assume, is going to probably be in your 8 to 12 range. I would assume your higher is going to be 15 and plus. And I would assume your low is going to be 1 to 6 max.
Got it. Okay. So we see. So you get to choose, sir. Which side would you like?
I'm going to go with the high reps.
High reps. Okay. So I am moderate reps. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. We'll take that down. Let's put a little banner up so I remember what our topic is. If I can, what do we say? Moderate reps.
Moderate versus high reps.
High-low reps.
This kind of ties in with our conversation we had offline yesterday with regarding my old trainer.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. I'll get into it.
We will get that. Just want to set this up. Should we have this scrolling now? We'll just make it a banner. How's that? We'll put it up so you guys can see it. We know what we're doing. We know why we're doing it. So we got 2 minutes. Brofit's going to go forward talking about why there's a benefit of high and low reps, and then I will take the other side of it as well. But 2 minutes. I really got to find a good timer. Although we always have Brofit's timer top left. Take a look at it.
Sure. All right, guys, we're talking about working out, lifting, just moving your body, and why higher repetitions is going to be more advantageous than doing some sort of moderate reps. Here's my philosophy about having high reps. If you're able to do something once, great. Doesn't really mean anything. I want to have the ability to repeat, and repeat, right? To me, longevity, strength is important, power is important, speed's important, coordination's important, balance is important, flexibility is important, right? But to be able to do those things consistently for a long, extended period of time is going to give you the ability to reach out into other types of movements or athletics, or sports or movement patterns, or it won't allow you to be limited. It's one thing to be able to go outside and play with your kids for 4 minutes and have the ability to go do a couple sprints. It's another thing to be able to go out there and do it for 4 hours and constantly go out there and have the ability to maintain with them. So when it comes to training, I look at the same concept. I want to be able to not necessarily have really, really heavy weight, but I want to be able to control me and my body, because that's weight enough. We're all working with different weights, but I want to be able to control me and myself and be able to do it for a long extended period of time. I'm going to get winded. I'm going to fail. I'm going to get tired. Yes, but I want to have the ability to consistently go on after taking a deep breath, telling myself I can do it, and then just getting back onto it. Whereas if I'm doing moderate reps, I'm going to have more of a spike in terms of probably my strength. I might have a little bit more power. I might have a little bit more strength, but I will not have as much endurance and longevity as I would if I was maintaining the higher reps. So there you go. 3, 2, 1.
I loved it. That was great.
We're keeping it within time. We got 10 seconds. We're going to make it. We got 45. We can do it.
Good. I was adding Scuba's topic. All right, so Brofit was talking about high and low reps, and I think that there is, moderate reps is the way to go. Moderate reps, the reason why we want to always think about moderate reps, and as we've defined earlier, that moderate reps are going to be somewhere in between those lower rep schemes that are going to be more for, say, strength building. And then we're also going to have these high reps, which can be more for endurance. You can also build some strength there. But those are ways that we are always going to be bouncing back and forth, and there's not going to be much consistency. And as Brofit said earlier, which I'll use his words here, he said that consistency is going to be key in everything that we actually do. So when we are doing something that is forever changing, we're not going to actually be able to stay as consistent with it. So moderate reps, sitting somewhere between 8 and 12 reps is always going to be a lot easier for most people, especially when it comes down to things like executive functioning and also working memory, for us to make sure that we can hop in the gym and know exactly what we're doing. When we think about over periodizing our training, you're just getting into the minutia. So you can go high and low, but you know what? There's too many people right now that are actually training as a bodybuilder when you don't need to. So stick with your moderate reps, save your time, save your energy, and it's probably going to help you in the end just that much more. I'm going to end it. I'm good. I feel good with that.
All right.
All right. Counter arguments. Here we go. 1 minute each.
Bang. Get it. Okay. Counter argument. Number one, we're talking about building muscle. When we talk about the density of muscle, the best type of density muscle isn't the one that feels like this. It's the one that's actually squishy. You want to see some good muscle, but it needs to be squishy, because if it's squishy, it's filled with lots of nutrients, minerals, and vitamins, and it's a little bit healthier than it would be if it was just extremely dense. So to me, numbers is going to allow for the right type of muscle density, rather than just breaking it down and having, it's kind of like meat. You ever gone to a steakhouse and had a really good Kobe beef where it just melts in your mouth like butter? That's somebody who does the higher repetitions and takes care of their body, right? You ever gone and had that same type of steak that's just really, really rough and yucky? That's the person who does a moderate weight and doesn't take care of their body. Outside of that, if we want to talk about numbers are going to be important, because they're important.
Oh, no.
Ran out of time.
Switch it up.
3. Starting in time. We're so much closer to that 45 minutes. We're getting there.
All right. The theme of the day is yucky and squishy. Yucky and squishy. It's something that we don't really want to get. Who wants to be squishy? Well, not me. And as Brofit said, doing reps that are either high reps or low reps, it's going to make you squishy, and it can make you yucky too. So we're going to stay with moderate reps. I don't want to go to a steakhouse and be eaten, but apparently Brofit wants you to work out to be squishy enough to go into a steakhouse and they're going to slice you up. Do not do that. I think it's the worst thing you can possibly do. So let's stick with moderate reps for right now. Let's make sure that you feel as if you can be your best self without being zombified, and you'll be better for it. Stick with moderate reps. Well, that was a great one. What do we think about that?
I didn't get to where I really wanted to get to, but that's okay. I wanted to talk about how, to me, it's about failure. Really, like there's the whole muscle part is interesting, because I believe there's importance behind both of them. There needs to be a practicality of putting both into your program at some point somehow. But the mental aspect of it is, to me, the game changer. Anybody can do those like 1 to 6 reps of a weight that they somewhat kind of maybe feel comfortable with, or even go heavier than they feel comfortable with. What's defeating is when you do something you know you should be capable of being able to do, like controlling your own body, and not being able to do it, and to sit there in that doubt, in that thought, in that yuck, in that space for just 15, 20 seconds, 5 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever it is, and listen to the thoughts that you tell yourself. Because right there and then that is your key. That unlocks all the mystery that you're trying to search for and find. That tells you what kind of individual you are and how you handle problems and how you handle the just chaos, right? Do you tell yourself that it sucks and that you don't want to do it and that you want to get out of it? Or do you work your way through it? Do you work yourself out of it? Do you create a habit that's getting comfortable with failing and going to that extreme, going to that limit of doing something that should be controllable over and over and over and over again, like your body, but putting yourself in a position where you're constantly failing and you're finding out what you're made out of in here, and then to figure out, cool, it's easy to go like get through a failure and accomplish it and go past it once. It's another thing to fail twice and to be able to do it a second time. But what happens the third time and the fourth time and the fifth time and the sixth time, and consistently putting yourself into that position where you're failing mentally, but able to get up and over it? It's like constantly giving yourself a pat on the back, or going through a hurdle, or exploding through a glass window. nothing can stop you, right? So for me, the numbers really exposes a lot in the mental capacity of what somebody truly believes in themselves and what they're capable of doing.
I like what you said about it exposing someone mentally. I've definitely gone through periods where I think that doing the higher reps, that there is, I think it can be very motivating, but there's also a sense of, it's almost like a meditative state when you're somewhere within those lower reps as well, lower reps and higher weight, of course, where you have to think through your movements just a little bit more. You have to make sure that you're stable. You have to really make sure that you are solid within your core as you're lifting, right? Straight spine. So there is something that's good about it. I think that, it being here, it's obviously, I think, a silly kind of topic in the way that I think that, I think periodization is something that should happen. We should go through periods where I think we do change how we're training in some sort of way. I also think that there's a little bit of an over periodization for some people where they're like, well, I have to get crazy right now and I need to make sure that I'm going into like this workout class over here, or I need to make sure that I'm going to lift over there. And I think the expectation with them sometimes is off, especially when I see some people that are lifting and they're lifting heavy, but their expectation is, and by that I mean they're lifting heavy like 5-6 reps, but they're also thinking that they're burning a lot of calories too. And this lean goal is not really matching up with how they're actually lifting. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, where did you go with that? Like, well, someone said I have to change up my workouts, but did you change up your goal as well? And so I think that there is this miscommunication that ends up happening because nutrition is like right behind this as well. Like you can always periodize your nutrition, but yeah, I think it's a good argument both ways. And I think it's for, what someone kind of needs there. I think it's definitely good. I like what you said though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer. If I can control me and my body, then I should be able to go out and lift some weight, but it's not necessarily the other way around. So that's why I say the high reps is great, because I can always go ahead and adjust it to a moderate rep and increase my weight load or increase my volume. Whereas not necessarily the people who are able to lift heavy are capable of moving freely. That's kind of where I'm getting at. I always like to think about the football player, and I don't mean to knock on anybody who played football back in the day, but the big blocky football player who's strong, he's powerful, he's capable of doing his thing. But if you ask that guy to go on a jog or go for just go do some regular movement, it's going to be really difficult for them. Very, very difficult for them. So I always look at a balance, right?
I think if anything, it just brings up everyone's got to understand their body. So talk with someone who knows, please.
Yeah.
We don't need any, I don't know, for some reason, rhabdo is on my mind. If you don't know what rhabdo is basically where your body starts to break down muscle and it can become, let's say, toxic within your bloodstream at that point. If you didn't hear about the story, if you guys know Colgate University up here in upstate New York, I believe is where it is, there was a lacrosse team. The men's lacrosse team had gone through training that was brought to them by I believe it was a Navy SEAL, and the whole team was hospitalized with rhabdo. And so most recently, I think it was like 2 days ago, the last 3 players were finally released from the hospital after recovering from rhabdo, because it was someone who decided to run this team who was not conditioned to the point they needed to be, ran them through this extreme conditioning program, high rep, whatever you want to call it. But obviously the team wasn't ready for it, and someone was not listening. Someone was not seeing what was probably going on. And that Navy SEAL mentality, never the best. So, well, I think it has its place. So crazy stuff. But anyway,
This way, that way.
Always a good thing. We got more topics. I'll be here tomorrow, so we'll have maybe some nutrition topics that will come up. We did add. Where is it? Where is it here? You're somewhere in there.
Childhood obesity. Fuck yes. I am so happy you put that in there. I really am.
I don't know. For some of them, I did take away the wait, Scuba, where's your thing? I put Scuba's, can't even see it. I'm all over the place. I'm just scanning now. I don't even see. Scuba, I even forget what you just said. You said walking, right? Is that what you said? Maybe you didn't save it. I don't know. It's in there somewhere, Scuba. We will come up with your topic. But if anyone else has any of these topics, we will do it. We will be here tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern and 10:30 p.m. Pacific. But that's what we're going to do, guys. That is going to end the show for today. Yeah, tomorrow, but again, 3 days a week. Let us know. We'd love for you to bring up any topics that you have. Brofit, sign us off.
I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times.
All right, leave it there. Take care.